I'm Alistair Harris and I graduated in 2006. I work for ABF Sugar, which is the corporate office of Illovo Sugar as we know it here in South Africa. I'm head of estate agriculture, so all of our farms across southern and eastern Africa. So we've got estates in South Africa, Eswatini, Zambia, Malawi and Tanzania. And on all our own farms, the agriculture there is what I'm responsible for. Agriculture engineering for me was, well, firstly I selected it because it was the most difficult degree that I could find that allowed me to get outside as part of my routine work, which was a must for me. It was a really broad degree, quite diverse, and I think it allowed me to get a holistic view of engineering rather than a more narrow form of some of the other engineering types. And that prepared me well. In fact, my first work was actually in a civil engineering company. Because of our exposure to fluid dynamics and hydrology, I was well placed to work in that environment, but equally in the agricultural environment later on. So agriculture engineering, I think, as we know, it's a really unique field of study, and it's well needed in this current environment as we're trying to feed our population, but also do it regeneratively and sustainably. And in my role in Illovo Sugar, I think I've got a unique opportunity to try and change the way we farm to that much more sustainable way over large acreages. And because we're a large agricultural organisation, if we are able to do that, we hope that others will follow and we'll be able to create a bit of a movement and really just farm, not just within sugar, but outside of that as well in a more sustainable way.
Agriculture in Africa is the one core industry that doesn't just provide us with food and sustenance. It's a source of employment. It's a source of income in a continent and in our country, South Africa, where people are unemployed.
Hi, I'm Chikondi Gurira. I graduated from UKZN in 2012. I'm currently the CEO of Engineers Without Borders South Africa, a non-profit that's based in Johannesburg, but I fortunately work from home in Pietermaritzburg. So agricultural engineering gave me like a very systems thinking outlook to life and work. Being at the crux of many different disciplines of engineering, being exposed to a bit of mech eng, a bit of civil, and then the agricultural engineering work as well, put me really in a unique position to be able to respond to societal challenges and not just technical challenges. So I've used my engineering as in rural development work and being able to also do very technical municipal work and then transition into non-profit and social impact work. And I think also the very technical way in which UKZN delivered our ag engineering course prepared me for the corporate world as well, because I never actually expected to be an engineer sitting in boardrooms, sitting in executive positions. But a lot of like the seminar training and all of that, which seemed at the time so irrelevant to ag engineering, prepared me for the corporate world. So really, you just become such a versatile person. Yeah. I'd start with the student training, the unique situation at UKZN where you study ag engineering at in agricultural faculty, then you move to Durban and you're working with the other engineering students and you're sitting in mech eng classes. It really gave me exposure to other disciplines, and what it has done is it's given me a multidisciplinary approach to work. So when I found myself on municipal projects where I'm working with architects and mechanical engineers and all these different types of professionals, I'm able to be competent and understand what they're doing because of that little exposure that came with, the versatility of the ag eng degree. In terms of experience in my actual career, I think being able to be at the forefront of projects that really changed people's lives, like the one project where I designed a tannery for the first livestock association-owned tannery in KZN. It was lovely to just design something that brought a means of production to a small group of people who historically would never been able to, own the means of production. So being at the center of work that really changes actual communities, brings actual food, water to people. And it's not like I was even trying to be a development engineer, but I think agriculture engineering just kind of makes you naturally capable to step into development engineering. So the transition to Engineers Without Borders felt very natural because of that, yeah.
My name is Mark Seitman and I graduated in 1993. I work for MBB Consulting Engineers and it originated in 1973, and so just a couple of years ago we celebrated our 50th anniversary, which is quite a milestone because it only is a few years younger than the Institute of Agricultural Engineering and the whole engineering degree that was set up in South Africa. And the company is situated in 5 offices around South Africa, and really we focus on agricultural development, and we like to say in Africa but coming out of South Africa. We think that defines us as African engineers. The career has really given me great opportunities. I have travelled to Australia, I've travelled to South America. I've done work at the foothills of Kilimanjaro, which afforded me the opportunity to climb the mountain. I've been to the source of the Nile. So the ability to travel and to go into places that aren't always often explored as an agriculturalist has been a fantastic and amazing experience. We know that food security is an important issue, and there have been many predictions that food production has to increase by double by 2050. It's a little bit of a misleading statistic because systems improve, agricultural production and yields improve, and so it doesn't mean a doubling of area of development. But what it does mean is that we need to be more considerate of how we produce food, and we need to ensure that it's sustainable. And that's really a part that we play. I think we probably underplayed in the whole market, and that's largely because there's not a lot of money in agriculture and the returns on investment aren't all that sexy. But it really is crucial, and we have the skill set to make it better than what it is.
My name is Pranesh Mudli and I graduated from the University of Natal at the time in 1999-2000. I've had a very, very good experience throughout my, call it 25 years post-graduating. I've been based on site in Mozambique. I've then was able to leave the country, work in the UK, and return back to South Africa, back to MBB, all because of the training I'd received at the University of Natal. So it's been a very colourful career. I did not know that I wanted to study agricultural engineering. I had known that I wanted to do engineering as a matriculant, and only after chatting to Professor Peter Line at registration did he really sell the idea of what agricultural engineering is. And based on that conversation, here I am almost 25 years or 30 years later, very proudly to be an agricultural engineer. Not just an agricultural engineer, I'm currently president of the South African Institute of Agricultural Engineering. My time as a student was a bit colourful. I enjoyed the university so much that I decided to do the degree in 5 years, not 4. Took a little bit of a detour, much to my parents' heartache. But yeah, I really enjoyed my time at the University of Natal. It was a unique experience in that we did first year in Pietermaritzburg, then years 2 and 3 in Durban, and then finally back at the Pietermaritzburg campus. So from that aspect, we had the opportunity to experience university life in 2 separate towns effectively, which is quite unique as undergraduates.
I would encourage anyone to get involved in agricultural engineering. It is you can go in any path. There's so many different avenues that you can choose, and there's so much demand for it. And I think just advice to young graduates or those in the study, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. You will have to work long hours as you learn, but it's been incredibly rewarding, and hard work always pays.
Words of advice and wisdom would be, if you like science and maths, this is definitely a career that one should choose. It's a wonderful balance of being in the office and being out in the field. You don't realize the benefit of it, having been office-based myself for a little bit and then coming back into the agricultural environment. You realize how fortunate we are in the jobs that we do. Every other week we're in the field on a farm, going through farmland and experiencing that as a job. Sometimes you wonder, should I actually be paid for this? Because it is actually very rewarding.
This is a profession that should excite people who want to be adventurous, who want to investigate at a higher level of reasoning and computation, to really investigate what can work in agriculture. And especially being in Africa, we are the last frontier, I believe, and we have so many opportunities to make a difference. So I would encourage youngsters to get involved in this career, and especially if you're outward looking and you want to experience new things, it's well worth it.
I think agriculture engineering is a very valuable career trajectory to follow. If you're someone who has a passion for engineering but also feels they want to be amongst people or really see a much quicker tangible outcome of impacting communities, impacting people, impacting production of food, really see their impact as soon as possible and not be part of a big corporate giant or part of a very technical production system. Agric engineers are the versatility to be able to swing between those actually. So if you're unsure as an engineer about, okay, do I choose this more mechanical or am I more a fluids person? If you have that kind of passion for multiple elements of engineering, I think ag engineering is one of those unique engineering disciplines that merges so many different aspects of engineering.